Welcome to Puro Pinche Sports. I am your host, Jose Garza. And tonight, my co-host is my boy, Arturo Ibarra. How's it going, brother?
How you doing, man? I'm doing good.
Doing fantastic, bro. As you know, the new Doctor Strange movie is out. And me and you have both watched it. We won't spoil it for anybody.
You just had to
But
watch it before it, seeing any
oh,
spoilers, though.
exactly. I wanted to avoid everybody. So I was like, I'm not going to worry about TikTok. I'm not worried about Instagram. I just want to make sure I catch it all before someone spoils it because it ruins the fun of it. You, on the other hand, you gave no fucks about wanting to give me hints about it. I won't say the details into what it is, but you fucker, I knew the instant you sent the little hint, I knew what it was. I'm a little pissed at you that you're one of those people. How dare you be one of those?
I just did it
Stop
because
it.
you were calling me out on other stuff, though. But overall, what you think of just a quick little thing? What you think of the movie? Do you think it was good, great, perfect? Do you
I
think it
need
needs a little
to
bit more work, or do you need to rewatch it?
no. I also say from first time experience, like I want to grade it like it's creeping into my top 10 because there's like probably like 30 movies by now. Um, but I want to like reevaluate the other ones that I've ranked above it. So I think I give it an A minus. Like I
A
thought,
minus.
yeah, I give it an A minus. But I won't say any more details just because I don't want
Got
anybody
it.
that listens or watches this to be spoiled. But what is your letter grade for it?
I think I'm gonna have to give it around a B. Just a B. And it's not because we've had our talks about it. It's just to me, I want more. I want a little bit more, and it's not just from the Doctor Strange movie. I want more from the MC universe. That's my call on that.
Okay, so before we get into the sports thing, since this has been a very discussion, let me ask you this, so we can discuss this after the pod. What was your letter grade for Spider-Man: No Way Home, the last movie that they came out with?
To be completely honest, I've only seen it once. I don't think I will see it again. Yeah,
What?
it's not one of my favorite movies. I actually was
What?
let down. I
It's
was
the
let down by that one.
bro, and to me, it's the best MCU movie ever, best Marvel movie.
No, it was a great storyline. How they layered and everything. It
But
had a sad
you'll
ending. Everything,
never watch it
but
again. You're not. It's not like you are a go to
nah.
watch. How dare
Yeah, it's one of those movies that I'm like, that just don't know. Like it, there's something that I'm missing from the MC universe that I
you? Okay,
haven't.
okay. We'll get into the sports topics. I'm really intrigued. You're hurt. This one we don't have to worry about ruining spoilers. What the fuck is wrong with you? What is going on that you give Spider-Man No Way Home? What what disappointed you?
I'm
What?
not giving it an F. Like I think overall, like I think it's an A movie, but it's not one of my favorite movies. Like it's just not there for me. Like I was so I'm comparing it to like the original Spider-Man. Like that's the kind of movie that I liked. Like it was like different. I don't know, dude. It's just my point of view on that. Like I think a movie that I'll rewatch over and over again, dude, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. Like that's one of the movies that I'll rewatch over and over again. But this last one, the Spider-Man movies, dude, nah. Not the last one.
I have to evaluate my friendship with you. What is going on? I don't know what. It's okay. We're difference of opinion on things. Let it go. Let's talk about sports before you piss me off, man. Before you piss me off.
That's
Are
a good
you in?
this is a good way to start the show.
Oh, this is not right, man. I don't. Ooh, we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about more at the end of the podcast. Anyways, so back to sports. It's Cinco de Mayo. We got a lot of sports stuff going on right now. We'll talk about stuff from last week up to stuff upcoming this weekend. Guys, if you're watching this or you're listening to this and you realize that there's episode 75 but not 74, or do you want to give more or less why we don't have a 74?
So we tried doing an episode 74 during the draft day, try to incorporate a little bit of poker, just like how we did last time. But the only problem with that is that we can't have the background of the TV going, so we couldn't get the reaction from the fans, or we couldn't hear the reasoning behind why that team picked that player specifically, or the highlights. So between picks, it was just kind of like quietness.
There was a lot of silence
And we did not
in the middle.
have our other host, Alex, to really explain these college athletes. Um, we only had Jesse, yourself, and I. So our conversations were it was just mumbo jumbo. So we had to delete. You had to delete that video, dude. It was bad. I don't think we wanted to have anyone
I
go in and watch that.
if we do that later on, I think we'll try to make it more entertaining. But it's also like there's just no way we can copyright like show something like that
Yep.
without their permission and stuff like that, and they'll never give us permission for it. You were in shock when I told you that we couldn't have audio, we couldn't have video. You were just like, "What the fuck?" And you were listening to it, not listening to it, but you were like, you put your headphones on. Were you listening to it, or were you looking at the draft part?
I was looking at it, and I was trying to listening to it, but my phone was a little behind on what was seeing on the TV, and then at the same time, it was behind from the notifications that we were getting. So to me, it was like kind of pointless for me to hear something that I already knew who they picked. So
yeah, and I remember me trying to get your attention to make your next move in poker. Wow, you were like, "I'll focus on this one right now. I'll focus on this one right now."
Yep.
So it was just bad, and I think Jesse said some inappropriate things on the episode that I didn't even catch right away until he said it. But yeah, it's just better to be a lost episode. It's just overall, it's just a good thing it's lost. Like we don't need to go there anymore. So on to 75.
Just like Kim Kardashian sexted, right? You got lost, supposedly.
I didn't get lost. She called Kanye and played, "Please save me, please, Daddy."
Have you seen that though? What they've actually said? That it was actually. I know that's not sports, but you know that they actually did that on purpose though. They sold that video to make them rich. That's what Ray saying. Yep. So it's like, all right, cool.
Who didn't know that she did all this for her own publicity? Like she's famous because of she's famous because came on her back. Yeah, because she made a comeback.
She made a comeback.
Hey, that's Chris Pratt's one. Okay, I gotta give it up to Star-Lord. But anyways, we've spent 7 minutes and we have like literally talked almost no sports. So anyways, give me your thoughts on the draft. What's your like highest winners and who are your biggest losers?
No, so I think the draft was interesting to see this draft because of the players that went through. Usually, or not usually, but the past drafts we've seen a lot of either wide receiver or QBs go in for the first 10 rounds in the first 10 rounds. So to actually see other players from other positions to go in and actually, not that they're not appreciated, but being appreciated as like, oh, you know what, like I actually need this in my team to get me a win. It was nice to see. However, it was a lot of like teams that really sucked. So that's how they got either a bunch of trades or a bunch of picks for that first round. So I think those were the people who won the most, and I think one of them was the Jets. I mean, the Jets had a shit ton of picks, and they did whatever they could with them. So I think my winners out of that, I think the Jets would be one of them. The Ravens, I think they were one of the highest rated drafters this year. So I think they're up there. I think the Vikings upgraded a lot, and I think the Lions upgraded a lot. I'm actually kind of scared on how that division is going to play out right now because of I don't think that the Packers are going to end up with the division this year. I think it's going to be either I think it may be either the Vikings or the Lions may make a scary appearance on that number 1, number 2 board just because of what they did with their picks.
That's an interesting prediction to go there. I think we were originally talking about our post-draft predictions as far as who we can skip that unless you want to go and talk about that. Overall, my thoughts is just that you like you said, you have to suck to have that many draft picks. You have to be able to be that bad of a team to be able to get that many good picks. Like most of the times you can probably get one good first round pick. If you're lucky to get 2, you found a way, good shit like that. The Eagles, I feel like, kind of won the draft, even though they didn't really draft much because they got the AJ Brown trade. Yeah, the AJ Brown trade was just an amazing accomplishment on their part.
The Cardinals did too. Like, and that's the thing. I was reading some stuff up, and it's like, okay, those teams that did not have a first rounder, they were able to, or not that they didn't have a first rounder, but they didn't have a caliber of a player to be dropped at that stage. So the fact that they made that change of that first rounder to say, okay, you know what, I need to upgrade at the wide receiver position. Let's get someone who's already seasoned, we know how he plays. Let's bring that to our team. So I think that's exactly how they won that draft, just from that trade.
Yeah, I mean they did a fantastic job. The spoiler for Cowboys fans, I feel like the Eagles are right there neck and neck with them to win the division. I mean, just to be honest with you, and that's more on what the Eagles have gained versus what the Cowboys have lost.
Yep.
And the Cowboys can feel good about themselves all they want. They're like, well, we got the better quarterback. We got possibly the better wide receivers. I don't know, man. I kind of have A.J. Brown more ahead, right? C.D. Lamb. He drops a lot of passes. And then you still got Devontae Smith. And I would put him over, like, coming out into a sophomore year, more of a flow thing that he has with the team. I would have him more better than Michael Gallup. I think Michael Gallup is okay. I think Michael Gallup capitalized on the fact that he had two guys ahead of him that are better. So we'll see how it goes. I don't want Gallup to have a bad career or bad season or anything like that. But I feel like what? I think they should have kept Damari somehow. But anyways, I was gonna say Gallup to me, moving into a position where he can be debated whether he's a wide receiver 1 or 2 is like how Juju went from wide receiver 2 to 1 after AB left. That's my comparison. So I think, yeah. But now to get people the reactions of what happened when they saw the video of me not happy with the selection of the Patriots. The Patriots failed. The Patriots got an F. In my book, they got an F. I'm holding water right here and I'm scared I'm just going to squirt myself in the face. Oh. They got a fucking F, Art.
They did. They did. Many of the predictions from a lot of people, the Patriots had an F.
Well, they had the results. Yeah, they sucked. What are you thinking? Like, why did you trade back with the Chiefs to get a guy that was projected a 3rd round pick in your 1st round? You could have gotten him in the 2nd round.
He was smart. He's really smart.
Belichick, or you mean Cole Strange? Cole freaking Strange? He's a smart guy.
10 times Dean List, man.
I don't. Yeah, when you're at school for 5 years, it fucking happens, right? You can probably get there fucking 10 times, but like, tell me, Art, like this guy is most likely going to come. Or Belichick said he's not. If we waited for him, we were not going to be able to get him. Nobody was getting him. The only people that were thinking about him was maybe like Sean McVay. Yeah, 103, whatever the pick was. Like, no, get out of here with that nonsense. Like, dude, if you want him, fine, get him in the 2nd round. I have no problem with it. You left Jermaine Johnson on the board, a guy who, for majority of the time, was predicted top 10 pick, and just some things put him backwards. But you could have picked him up at 21. You didn't have to trade back with the Chiefs. So now the Chiefs got better players above in the draft than what you did. Then you go get a wide receiver who was ranked at 18 when only at the time 9 were off the board.
Yep.
So that means there was more guys. And again, the Chiefs get the better wide receiver.
I don't know if it's a Belichick thing, dude, where he sees these diamonds in the dust, or I don't know, like what he thinks of it.
Look, Matt, he put Matt Patricia back on the fucking team. Like, he's in his ear. Like, it's shit like that. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I love my Pats. I'll always be there for them, but I can criticize the fuck out of them all I want. Like, I don't know what this is. They're horrible sometimes at drafting. Just horrible. They're not in my book for the playoffs. They're not in line to hit the playoffs in my book. Like, just dead ass. Like, they're not. Go on.
No, I mean, there was a lot of teams that let a lot of people down, and I can talk about my team. I mean, I read everywhere that they keep saying, like the Bears sucked at drafting. They sucked the draft. I was like,
I saw so many C pluses for y'all. I mean, I was like,
it was a good. What they did with the draft capital that they had after what they inherited, I think they did great. They upgraded the O-line. This is not a team that's in contention right now. They're rebuilding, and that's what people don't get. Yes, you're not putting Justin Fields on a winning team, but he's gonna be your future QB unless you're gonna draft someone else next year. But
No, they're not.
they're not going to. They're gonna go wide receiver probably next year. And to me, the way that they did it, I think it's smart. It gives them a chance to protect him for the season, whether it's a bad season that they get. But it's not. I feel like everyone's thinking like, okay, you should have drafted weapons for Fields. Hey, like, what's the point of drafting weapons if you don't fix the O line? And that's what the Jags did. Did the Jags really fix the O line? They just drafted a bunch of weapons. He has a bunch of weapons. He had the weapons last year.
You know what's
But-
funny is that they drafted a freaking the best, I guess, guy from the combine defense wise, and Aiden Hutchinson went straight to the Lions. So good for the Lions.
No, but overall, I feel like everyone's kind of like, depending on who your team is and what you wanted to get out of it, like they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, they did great. They did it." I'm not saying we drafted to make it to the Super Bowl. I think that we drafted it to be okay.
We drafted more for the future, more than
Yeah,
the present.
exactly. So, but I did think about this, and I was thinking about this earlier today when we had the discussion, or yesterday when we had that discussion about the Raiders and Josh Jacob and the running backs.
Oh
But-
yeah, go on.
But after that, dude, I started laughing because if you think about it, the
Yeah,
fan
man.
base, the fan base of the Raiders, dude, is a huge fan base, right?
Okay.
And whether they win or lose, they like celebrate. They're freaking crazy. If you think about it, that's the same thing with the Cowboys.
I mean, everyone.
They're
thinks they do a
okay.
good job.
But then they lose. They have the team, but then they lose.
But Raiders fan, like, I'll give it to the black hole. Like, they're fucking like loyal as hell. Like, people like there are fans that move from Oakland to Vegas to like still support the team.
That's the only difference, though.
But like they're ride and die. Like, but here, so like real
If
quick.
you were
so
to
like-
ask me, would I rather be a like if I had to choose, if I had to jump ship from the Bears, and those were the only two teams that I had,
Cowboys,
I would
Raiders.
go with the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders. Like, there's just like there's nothing about the Cowboys that makes me like love them. Like, there's not. I don't. Their egotistical fans are fucking insane. They're annoying as hell. Like, no offense to my friends who are Cowboys fans, because we are in Texas and there's a lot of them. But y'all go every year. This is our year. It's never your year. It hasn't been your year since I was like 5 years old. I'm 31 right now, guys. Like, you ain't your year no more. Like, your year's done. It's over. Like, stop talking. You need to be happy you win the division. That's all you win, because you can barely win a playoff game. You lost to San Francisco in the first freaking round to Jimmy Garoppolo,
Who had nothing.
but you
They
have
all hurt.
Trayvon Diggs. You have Trayvon Diggs. You have all these defenders. You had DeMarcus Lawrence.
Michael
You had all these
Parsons.
guys. You had all these guys that could do it, and you lost to the Niners, to Jimmy Garoppolo, who will probably be the starting quarterback next year for the Niners again. Like, really, like, you don't have anything to say. Like, oh my God, we have a great season. Cool. Doesn't mean you're going to win. Even I'm realistic. I didn't even pick the Patriots to win their playoff matchup against the Bills, because I know what the fuck is going to happen. Like, I'm not just going to, do I want my team to win? Of course. But I'm not going to be like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to go ahead, brother. We're going to stomp the mud hole on those sons of bitches Bills, those Buffalo Bills. We'll put them through a table. We'll put them through a real table. Put them on the ground, motherfucker. Like, what? Hell no. No, I'm more realistic. I know shit. But anyways.
And that's why you're a Pats fan, not a Cowboys fan.
Exactly. It ain't your year. It never has been. Some of you are my friends. I love you. Respectfully. Y'all weren't even alive when last time freaking Cowboys won the title. And if you were in diapers. Respectfully. Suck it. Anyways. All right. I sent you the list of what we were going to talk about today. What's the next thing you want to talk about?
We can talk about, since we're talking about the drafts, what about those teams who drafted the QB? There's been comments going in and out on the NFL from quarterback saying, I'm not mentoring. I'm not the mentor. If I'm competing for the same position, why would I mentor you to take my position over?
No. It wasn't multiple people. It's just one man.
Just one.
One man. You want to mention who that one man is?
No, I'm okay. You can do it.
Ryan fucking Tannehill, you stupid hypocrite. The hell is wrong with you? Like, seriously, what is wrong with you, my guy? Like, this is my opinion. Obviously, Art will share his in just a bit. Look. Well, actually, you know what, Art? Let's start with yours because you're more the defendant. I'm more of the prosecutor. Why don't you go ahead and
how am I the defendant?
Because you're defending Ryan Tannehill. You actually
I'm not defending Ryan Tannehill.
Yes, you are.
I said
what?
Okay, what are you trying to say? Like I'm defending him to say
you're
like
defending his comments. You're saying that he's right. He doesn't have to mentor him.
I'm the opposite. I said if they're competing for that job, if he feels like they're competing for that and they're gonna take his job away, why would I mentor him?
Okay.
That was my statement. Like if I'm competing for a job, why would I mentor? If
okay, but so you think he's in the right?
So in that instance. In that instance, he's right. I don't think he's being a team player, but as like, hey, you're gonna replace me.
So are you gonna win? So are you gonna win like that?
No, you're not.
Okay, then
that's what like you're not gonna win that way. I know he's wrong at saying that, but I'm just saying like if you're competing for a job, you're not going to give the person you're competing the job with the pointers on how to do the job better. You're going to keep those things to you.
No, you are. You don't look, here's the thing about a mentor. You teach them everything they know. You don't have to teach them everything you know. You want to put them in the best position possible to help your team. When you sent me the video of the comparisons of what Cam said about Will Greer versus what Ryan Tannehill said about Malik Willis, he's right on point. Cam, even though he's not a winning quarterback, he had one good real season and all this shit. You're right. You want to set your team up for the best possibility because what happens if you go down? Let's say you go down week 14 and your team's already set for the playoffs, but your guy's not ready because he hasn't had first team reps during the offseason, during the workouts and all this other stuff. What if he's not ready? What if that's the reason like your team fails? You can't put it on the coaches because the guy didn't have any chances with first team reps. And I get it. He's trying to save his career. But no offense, my guy. If you lose your job to a third-round pick, the same way that Russell Wilson won his job in Seattle, you're just not good enough. Like dead ass, you're not good enough to keep that job. And that could happen. And there's going to be times during this offseason, like during preseason workouts, you're going to see probably Malik Willis sneakily win the job. There's a chance. Like he's short, but there's a lot of talent right there, Malik Willis. There's a lot of people hyping up about it, and nobody knew. Was they going to go with the pick guy, or can he pick it, or are they going to go with Malik Willis? But you don't want to be the selfish guy. You have to be a good teammate. You can't call yourself a good teammate and not want to help this guy because you're too afraid of of losing your job. You're that insecure, then you're already not my captain for my team. Like dead ass. Like I can't. Like let's say for example, because we've been teammates in like volleyball, and we've gone against each other in kickball. That's a funny story. But like, am I going to be a good teammate? And I'm not. And I'm going to show you how to be a better guy because on the volleyball team, I would give you pointers because you're the better athlete. But I want you to have the better, ability to hit those balls or to pass and do the stuff that we needed to do so the team can win, right?
Right.
Was I going to invite you on the team and be like, I'm not going to tell you anything. I don't want my team to look at me and be like, oh man, he's better. I want Jose out. I want Arden, stuff like that. No, I want my boy to succeed. I want my teammate to succeed. That's what you do for a team.
Which that did happen later on in the seasons.
Hey.
Not by you.
That's right. As long as you know. As long as you know. I just had to deliver the bad news. But as long as you know.
No, it was all fun and games. And then later on, we talked about that, and it was hilarious.
We laughed about it. We
my
laughed about it on my birthday.
My replacement was not that great.
Wait, which replacement are you talking about? Because your replacement was overall, yes, great.
No, the first replacement?
No, there was no first replacement. What the fuck are you talking about?
We'll talk about that later. We're not putting
I think I know who you're talking about, but he was not your replacement.
No, I know he wasn't. But like that's who they sent out first, and then they were like, "Oh no, never mind. We'll talk about that later."
Oh no, I mean I can mention it right now. I'm not gonna mention the names, but yeah, no. I told him too. I told him I'd pick Art over you.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
We're talking about the
yeah,
same person.
I told him. I told him straight up, like I'm not like I love you, but I will pick Art over you. But anyways, that's but that's because I tried helping him too. But anyways, we'll move
No,
on.
but moving back to the whole Tannehill thing, like the fact that you're not want to be a team player though, and it's maybe the comment came after he found out that they just sent away his number one guy, but they didn't want to pay him. Like they had the money for it, and we talked about it. They had the money to pay AJ Brown. They didn't want to pay him. They didn't want to pick up
It's not like he
his
got
contract.
paid
And he didn't,
extravagant.
exactly. He did not get paid that much. He's just
in my opinion, no, that wasn't much.
no, and like he felt like he wasn't being. They weren't being considerate of his talent. All right, you don't.
There was no respect. They lowballed
Exactly.
him. They lowballed him.
You don't have respect for me. Then I'm gonna go look for someone else who is gonna give me the option to play. Maybe they're not gonna pay me a lot, but they're gonna let me ball out. So that's what he did, and he even said it. It's like, hey, they offered me this, and they lowballed me, and I'm going with the better option.
Well, let me ask you this, because this was an interesting topic during the week. There was a lot of discussion of the fact that the wide receiver position is now the new quarterback position, because there's a lot of wide receivers who want to get paid a lot, but the teams rather move them along to someone else that's willing to pay, and then just go ahead and draft them a bunch of receivers in the first, second round. Like we saw a lot. I think it's the highest number of wide receivers drafted ever. I think like 9 went in the first 2 rounds or something like that. And don't fact check me, guys, or fact check me, whatever. It's not an accurate number, but you know what I mean. Like there was a lot taken. So just what do you think about that? Do you think the wide receiver position has become the new quarterback?
So in terms of pay wise,
Yeah.
Yes. I think when you're a great receiver and you can run the routes and you can get that separation, hey, you deserve your money. Now, it also depends where you're going to land. Like, for example, the Jags, that huge sign deal for Kirk.
Overrated.
I mean, he's overrated. So is he going to work for that money? I don't know. Maybe he will ball out. Devontae Adams, he moved to the Raiders.
Kenny
He's
Galladay
back with his QB. Exactly. So to me, it's like it just depends on the situation of the team that you get behind the quarterback. Now, QB wise, I think that should still be one of the high paying players. But I think the O-line should be, especially your
second.
Yeah, like that should be your second, and those are the ones that cover your blind side out of it. Like if you don't have a good O-line, your team sucks. What are you going to be doing? Just running the ball? You can't run the ball. You can't pass the ball. What are you going to do? Play action? Like not all the coaches, and we've seen it. There's a shit ton of great QB who like to play action, but they can't do that if the coach does not want to put that in their game plan.
So let me go ahead and let you know right now. I think this is accurate. These are the highest players being paid this year. And I'll just say top 5. Tyreek Hill, $30 million. Devontae Adams, $28 million. DeAndre Hopkins, $27.25 million. AJ Brown, $25 million. Stephon Diggs, $24 million. So they're getting up there. They're really getting up there. And I mean, Tyreek Hill's already hit the 30 mark. So
where's the next? Where's the QB?
The highest QB is what? Rodgers, right? Isn't Rodgers?
Should be.
Let me see. Same website. It's Aaron Rodgers at $50 million.
So he's on top of which receiver?
Deshaun Watson comes at second for $46 million. Patrick Mahomes comes in third at $45. Josh Allen $43. Derek Carr $40.5.
So Rodgers is at 50. What's the next wide receiver? Hill? No. Hill would be what, 4th after?
Hill's 1 for wide receivers.
Right. But if you put QB and wide receiver mix in the same category.
So if you want to mix him, he's at $30 million. He's getting paid equally amount as Matt Ryan is, and he's a 12th ranked quarterback paid. Yep.
I mean,
We're creeping up there. And then,
and
okay, so mind you, Tom Brady's getting paid 15 million, and he's 15 ranked. So all those receivers are getting paid more than Tom Brady.
and here's the thing: if you think about it, how much was that was Hopkins getting paid for?
He's getting paid, what's it, 27.25? Is that what I said?
So almost 30.
Yep.
And he's not gonna play for 6 games.
Hey, that's on
So
him.
so you're telling me that you wanna spend your large capital money?
Well, to be fair, quarterbacks get suspended too. Like Tom Brady has recently been suspended. So
No, right. But you want to spend your large capital on this wide receiver that we've seen it on the past seasons. They get hamstrings, they get a lot of injuries because they get a lot of those hits.
or that's why you don't pay running backs. That's why they're being cheapskates to them because they get the worst. Right. They have to use their legs the most.
So I think the running back should be getting paid a little bit more instead of just the wide receiver. Like the wide receiver is like, okay, there's so many wide receivers available. And we saw that in that draft. They can get developed to be whoever they wanted to be in that team. But originally, I think the QB should be paid. I actually think the O-line should be paid more.
Well,
they should be the number one, and then QBs, then running backs, and then wide receivers. That's my opinion.
So I don't know if looking it back, because I'm looking now at the running backs. There should be a capital that says don't pay them, because here's why. Because you're right, they do the most work, but you're also paying them for what they're going to do in the future, not for what they've done, right? Because that's the logistics. That's how the teams look at it. They're not looking at what you've done; they're looking at what they think you'll do.
Right?
Christian McCaffrey comes at number 1. Do you feel comfortable paying him $16 million?
16?
Yeah.
I think
for what he's gonna do. No. For what he's gonna do.
That was his contract.
Yep.
I would feel okay to pay him that or more if he had an O-line. If my team had an O-line, I wouldn't mind paying my running back more because I know he's going to perform. But
I mean, doesn't matter.
If he's just going to be taking hits and he's going to be like hurt all the time, well, of course you're not going to pay that player.
He's like your wide receiver 2, running back 1. like honestly, like he is like one healthy. He's both of those.
How much is Cordell Patterson getting paid? And he would play every freaking position.
Okay, and he ain't getting paid shit. Cordell comes at number 18. He's getting paid $5.25 million. Yeah.
Like you're playing wide receiver, you're playing wildcat, you're playing running back, you're playing fullback, you're playing QB. Like
here's what I would say. Like if you could stay healthy, good. I'll pay the money. Once you start getting unhealthy, that's when I'm like, ugh. So like for example, here's your top 5 running backs. McCaffrey 16, Zeke 15, Kamara 15. He might get suspended too. Dalvin Cook 12.6. He gets injured a lot. Derrick Henry, 12.5. Those are your top 5 paid running backs. I would pay Derrick Henry more because he's a guy that can get you almost 2,000 a year, 2,000 yards. If you do it the right way, you can get you 2,000 a year. He had that one injury last year.
Because we've seen this.
It was a foot injury, right? Was it a foot injury?
Yep. It's literally at the top. It's like literally the bone that's right here. So that's the one that they use to push off the ground. So he can't get that.
I would pay him higher, but not more than probably 16. I think I can live with 16. I don't know if I can go higher. You said McCaffrey more, but I think I would cap it at 16 for Henry.
So in that instance, I would rather pay my O-line more to protect those players, so I can pay more, so they can last longer if I'm going to be paying them that little.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't have to pay my running back more because I'm taking care of my O-line. That's the thing. If you pay your O-line, and I know we're stretching this topic a lot longer than we should. Did we just completely end the Malik Willis talk? Yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so if we have to, this is gonna be a long episode. We have to make up for last week's debacle. So if you want to make up for it, because we were talking about, because you mentioned how stupid the Raiders were for not paying fucking their running backs, and that's why I was like, they're not stupid. They just capped out, maxed out.
They maxed out, right?
They maxed out Max Crosby and Devontae Adams. I think those were the right choices. I'm not going to overpay mediocre, mid-tier running backs.
Running backs.
But you said they're stupid.
I said they were stupid and cheap.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Because they didn't pick up 5 of their players' 5th options. They were a good team last year. The only thing is that they were not in the right mind. So now that you're bringing all these players in, like you're bringing another wide receiver.
But were they great because of the running backs?
So they were only a contender because of what the running backs did last year.
I think Hunter Renfrow had a lot to do with that.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm not taking that. But like they could not move the ball unless the running backs were able to get it through.
Let me pull up Josh Jacobs because he's the one you're talking about, plus Kenyon Drake. Okay, here's why I disagree with you, because his stat numbers from last year, because he did, like, if you're talking about scrimmage yards, he got over 1,000. But as a running back, rushing yards, 872. He got 9 touchdowns. He caught 54 catches for 348, no touchdowns. So he got 1,000 yards, but you can't tell me you can't get a cheap player, cheap running back, and get you that same numbers if you have a good protection. Because I would say the Raiders had good protection.
Right. But most of those touchdowns, who do they go to?
Well, running backs, but you can get that from
Drake. They took him from Drake, and then so Josh and Drake moved the ball around from the 40 all the way to the top. And then they just passed the ball to a wide receiver, and then they just got it in, or Waller.
No, their biggest weapons was the wide receivers. Okay, so I just gave you the numbers for Josh Jacobs, right? This is your numbers.
875 and 1,000.
Yeah, 872, 75, whatever. So it's over 1,000 scrimmage yards.
Mm-hmm.
Kenyon Drake only got over 500, barely got over 500 scrimmage yards. And 254 yards of rushing, 2 touchdowns, 291 yards with 30 catches for 1 touchdown. He didn't take anything from him. It was more you were utilizing Hunter Renfrow. Darren Waller didn't have the greatest seasons. Derek Carr actually ran in more touchdowns, I think.
Yep.
On his part.
Yeah, I think he did.
So I don't think that's why you're not going to pay these guys. You're not going to pick them because you don't have to. I just don't think like.
No, and I agree with you. Like, I think it goes back to that whole thing where we're talking like, should the wide receiver position be paid that much when there's that many wide receivers being drafted in the draft, or so many other wide receivers not picked up in their option, and they can just be picked up as a one-year deal. Same thing with the running backs. So I see your point on it. It's just like, okay, like to me with the Raiders, it's like, okay, you spend all your draft capital on these guys because they're pretty much all first rounders that they picked up. And now you're going to say, okay, no 5th-year option for y'all. Y'all can look for someone else. It's like you're losing your players that you spend your draft capital on.
Okay, but you have to remember that these were the Mike Mayock, John Gruden players. Like these were their guys. This is not the guys that for the new coach, which Josh McDaniels, for the new GM, whose name I slipped. It's someone good. I forgot who it is. Let me look it up real quick. But this is not their guys, so they don't have to believe in them. Dave Ziegler. They don't believe in these guys, and rightfully so. Look at the Josh McDaniels coming from. He's coming from Bill Belichick. Does he overpay his running backs? Absolutely not. He's not going to overpay them. He's going to pay the best weapons possible. He's going to go for the defense. Devontae Adams is the number 1 wide receiver in the league. He's going to pay him. So Josh Jacobs, he's okay. He's good, like, but he ain't great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he's good, but he's not the best in the world. You can get 9 touchdowns from another running back somewhere else cheaper. You can.
I agree with you.
Like, let's be honest. Like, we can get 9 from somewhere else. If you have a good O-line, you can get 9 from somewhere else. As far as like, let me see, receiving and touchdowns. Who was their guy? Hunter Renfrow with 9. Brian Edwards at 3. Foster Moreau for 3 Henry Ruggs before his stupid incident. 2, Darren Waller only got 2 receiving touchdowns, so that was a bad fantasy draft pick by me. And that's it. Zay Jones had a nice little year. He did a lot of yards, even though he didn't run in for touchdowns. But and he's gone. I think he went to the Jags as well. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to pay these running backs too much. Like, running backs are good. Like, if you have here's the ones that you want to pay. Derrick Henry, because he's a beast, right? I'll pay Debo. I'll pay him to be a running back and wide receiver. But I'm going to tell him that's what I expect from you, whether you like it or not. Like, you're going to play these plays. Apparently that's some of us, hate for the Niners so far, which is stupid. Like, no, play. If they're going to pay you, play. But if they're not going to pay you, then I understand. Want to leave. We can talk about that another time. But overall, those guys give me the high volume, like our fantasy picks, like the ones that win us fantasy leagues and stuff like that. That's who I would say pay. Those running backs. Because they're the ones doing the hardest work. You paid Zeke, and what's he done? You paid Christian McCaffrey, what's he done?
Sit on the bench.
No, stay at home, hurt, or not be as productive as you were earlier in your career. Look at Saquon. You're not going to pay him no more.
He's going to break out this season.
So the Giants fans? The Giants fans? All right. Anyways, we can move on from that. Art, what's the next topic on there you want to talk about?
UFC 274.
That comes this Saturday. That comes in 2 days. Hell of a card. We'll be watching that at my cousin-in-law's house. He's graduating. Marquitos is graduating, so he's having a graduation party. So we'll be watching it there. Gonna be a hell of a time. You got the champion, the lightweight champion, Charles.
Are you gonna give him the chip as his gift?
Yes, I will take it to him, and I will call him out in front of everybody. And he still won't eat it. I bet he won't eat it. Love you, Marco. But it's Charles
Oliveira. Me over him. What?
Shut up. It's Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje for the lightweight title. Art, you last saw Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira fight. Justin Gaethje beat Michael Chandler, the epic fight to start off their card against Michael Chandler. And then at the end of that was you weren't there when I ate the chip, right?
Nope.
No, that night, the bet on the chip was I had Dustin Poirier beating Oliveira, but that didn't happen. Oliveira won. So you caught it somewhere else. I think you were somewhere else for that. But anywho,
watch it on my phone.
Watch on your phone. Yes.
I think I was visiting family, but yeah.
You probably were. But anyways, what are your thoughts on that fight?
That was a great fight between Justin and Michael, dude. Like, we were like off our seats because they just went at it. They were just going at it like animals, though. So I believe Charles has a lot of people have been wanting him to prove himself out in a fight like Justin and Michael had. So hopefully this is a fight where it puts him at that category to say, you know what? I am the champion. Again, I am the champion. I deserve to be here.
I don't think there's. I mean, I don't question it. I don't think there's that many people questioning his fortitude and stuff like that. I know Justin Gaethje had a comment this week saying that he's had habits of quitting before, and once you're a coward, always a coward.
Yep.
And then he followed by saying, "Well, I'm not calling him a coward." Bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? But anywho, here's my thing. I think he's proven it. He's already proven it. Let's look at his career stats. He started his career 10-8 in the UFC. That's not a good record. You're almost a 500 fighter. He goes on and is now on a 10-fight win streak. In that 10-fight win streak, you basically almost submit or TKO all your opponents, including when you won the title from Michael Chandler because the title was vacant. You beat him for it after an awesome first round, and then 19 seconds of the second round, you finish him off with a TKO because he wasn't knocked out, but he was about to be. So now he's rejuvenated. his career. He did that. Then he goes on to be Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier is one of the toughest guys out there, and he could have easily won the title too. Like it was a good fight, and once he got him to the ground, he owned him. He owned him on the ground. There was no debate or anything like that. Justin Gaethje, in his, I'm going to go with his last two fights, or let's go with three because I just kind of mentioned. Well, I mentioned the last two for Oliveira. The last two fights for Gaethje was the first one was his loss against Khabib for the title on October 24th. I know that date because that's a day me and my wife left the hospital after our baby was born. And I was watching on my phone there, but legally. Anyways.
Dana, don't come after him, please.
No, I did. He can look at my receipt. I'm winking at you, stupid.
I watch him legally.
Dana, don't come for art. Anyways, his quote before the Khabib fight was, "He has to put me to sleep before I even tap out. I'm gonna go out there and win the fight." Khabib made Justin Gaethje tap out and still put him to sleep. So Gaethje tapped out and
fell asleep.
He fell asleep. So, one, does that make you a coward because you quit? Time will tell. Then he goes on, takes a whole year off after his loss, and then comes into that barn burner fight with Michael Chandler. Great fight. Fantastic back and forth. Both ate a lot of shit. Michael Chandler clearly hurt the most. But they ate it. They started off the night perfectly because it was that card versus the Canelo fight card. And it was beautiful.
They weren't even the main fight.
No, they kicked off the UFC show. It was beautiful. It was fantastic. But you now question, because you have, and every right, you have self-confidence coming into this fight because you believe in yourself. You believe in everything you've done. But Charles Oliveira is not a quitter. He is that past guy that you once knew as, what quote unquote quitter does no longer exist. You need to focus on the guy that's on a 10-fight win streak, on the guy who is the UFC lightweight champion. And I have Charles Oliveira beating Justin Gaethje this weekend by submission, not TKO, because I think if Charles tries to stand with him, he won't last too long. It's just Gaethje's just a monster, and we've seen that plenty of his fights. But Gaethje's also reckless sometimes. Sometimes he tends to eat some shots just to try to get some shots in too. He will eat 5 shots to get 1 shot in. But I digress. I'm picking Oliveira. Who do you got for this weekend?
I'm picking Oliveira too.
The Bronx is going to retain, in my opinion, but who knows? I'll probably do a review that night or next day about it and just do it on there. If you want to hop on, let me know. Co-main event. The champion, Rose Namajunas, defends her title in a rematch versus Carla Esparza. Now, this is a rematch from the inaugural women's strawweight title fight. So the first title fight ever came from the accumulation of the Ultimate Fighter. I think it was Ultimate Fighter 20, if I'm not mistaken. And the finalist was Carla Esparza and Rose Namajunas, a young Rose Namajunas. She lost to Carla. Rightfully so. Carla had the more experience. She became champion. And then, unfortunately, wasn't a successful champion. She would go on to lose the next fight. But we've seen the evolution of Rose since. I think you were there when she had that epic knockout when she won her second title against Zhang Weili, and we made Mike take some shots. I think you had to take some shots too. I think you bet on Zhang as well.
No, I bet on Namajunas. I've never bet against her.
Okay. You're a good man if you did that.
Yeah, no, I haven't bet against her.
Maybe you want some brownie points back on me after what you said about Spider-Man. Anyways, Rose is now become 2-time champion since the last fight with Carla. Carla's been on a hot streak lately. In this rematch, where you're going to have a wrestler versus, I would say, an all-around competitor, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I like seeing these fights between these women fighters because I feel like they give it their all. They have like something to prove, and they just go all out. And Namajunas, dude, she's a beast. Like, if she loses, it's gonna be another upset, just like the fight that we saw with the Lioness. I feel like
Ooh.
this is, if she loses, it's gonna be one of those upsets.
No, but okay. So is that a gut feeling you're having that it's almost like a Juliana Pena Amanda Nunes fight?
I think it could be just because of the history that they have. Just
Okay,
because I know, so I know Namajunas, I have her winning the fight. I do have her winning the fight, and I've told you, if they go to decision, the only way that Sparsa's gonna take it is if she beats Namajunas out. Like if she beats her out and Namajunas can't respond, but they go to decision, that's the only way she's gonna win it.
okay.
However, I don't think Namajunas knows what Sparsa can do, and I don't think she's gonna want to let her do that. She's not gonna let her guard down. So I think she's gonna have to submit her or knock her out.
So in their last fight, Carla submitted her. She got her on a rear naked choke in the third round. So, but that was a young Rose. So let me tell you right now, her fight record going into that fight was 2-1. So that means she went into the Ultimate Fighter, which for whatever reason they don't count those fights as pro fights; they count them as exhibition fights. She beat all three of her opponents by submission, two Kimuras and a rear naked choke. So realistically, at that point, fighting the level of fighter she was having, she was more realistic, a 5-1 fighter. But still, that's still pretty young for
Yep.
against a fighter caliber of Carla Esparzo. Carla Esparzo fought Rose. She was a 9-2 fighter, so she had a little more fights. But then if you count, the tough fights, then she's
Mm-hmm.
12-2. My point is, she had the overall experience. Since then, two different journeys. Carla went kind of down, then rose her back up. Uh, Rose rose up, went a little down when she lost her title, and then rose back up, saying, "I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best." And she proved she was the best. And then she beat Zhang Weili in a rematch on that same fight card that we were talking about, Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. We were a little busy watching the Canelo fight at the time because we were super hyped about it.
But she
But
retained.
but yeah, she retained and she did what she needed to do to keep the title. So now we come into this rematch, and you're having some feelings about Julia and Pena, kind of upset. Okay, I'm not gonna say that Carla doesn't have the chances to, but I think Rose has left her behind. Personally, I do. I think
Yep.
so because of what the journey she's gone through. She's had some
But
losses on the way. Like it ain't perfect. Like she had two losses on the way, one including the title fight, and the other one against Carolina, I think.
right, but
But
that's the same thing we thought about the lioness, though. It's like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that she's gonna lose.
I'm not
And
saying there's no way because I mean when she lost to Jessica Andrade, there was a way. She got concussed when she got slammed to the ground by a takedown. I'm not saying there's no way. What I'm saying is levels wise, Rose
no,
has
level
left her,
wise,
and
yeah, of course.
she should not. If she's 100% focused, and this is why sometimes I say in the fights, if you're not 100% focused and you too lackadaisical, which we've seen a lot in the Israel Adesanya fights sometimes because they kind of tend to be a little boring. No offense, you see the challenger take advantage of it.
Yep.
Rose, I think, has a mindset of like, look, I lost my title. I had to.
I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be in that position again.
Yeah,
Yep.
she wasn't in the right mindset when she was a champion and then lost the title to Andrade. I think she's in a better position now, and she knows, hey, I lost to this girl once. I have a lot of respect for her, but I
I
want to
can
win
do it
this.
again. Yep.
This is a revenge fight. I've lost her, so let me beat her this time. So I think this one, she like Amanda got cocky. Amanda got cocky. She just believed there was just nobody that could hurt her. I think she's still the better fighter than Juliana Pena. I personally do. But she ate too many shots. She allowed Pena to hit her, which was stupid.
Yep.
You're better than that. And they'll have a rematch later on. And
Yeah,
maybe
they
she do
are. Have you
double champ
seen?
again. I
Have you
haven't seen
seen where
Tough.
they're at?
I don't watch Tough.
I saw
But
the first episode, and
what are your thoughts?
she looks and she feels that she's still a little cocky about it.
Uh,
And I can see Pena just being like, "Nah, this ain't. You're not gonna take me for granted again." Like that's the mentality that she's going. Like she's focused.
Pena has it like I've already beaten you. I could do it again. That's
Yep,
the same.
that's the mentality she has.
So Pena has every right to. She won the fight, like dead ass. She won the fight. So, But that's why I think Rose is different. I think Rose knows like I lost that fight. I'm not gonna be cocky about this just because I'm on a good win streak. I need to stay focused and beat her. I can't lose.
And that's why I have her winning. That's literally why I have her winning.
All right, and then next one we will talk about is the Michael Chandler Tony Ferguson fight. Now, Tony Ferguson hasn't been himself. He's lost his last 3 fights.
Yep.
And Michael Chandler has lost his last 2. So they're both desperate for a win right here.
Yep.
Yeah, they're both desperate for a win right now. So give me your thoughts on both fighters and then who's winning the fight.
If Chandler puts a fight like he did against Justin, I think he takes the fight. But that's the Michael Chandler that we have to see. And if Tony just beats him, then I wouldn't call it luck, but I feel like it would be initial to getting, like, hey, getting my confidence back. These two guys need their confidence back. Like, whoever wins, they're going to get their confidence back. They're going to build something up and then go from there. But the only way that I see Chandler winning is if he gets out of his head and he just does the exact same thing he did with Justin.
But what does he doesn't? But what does Chandler, in your opinion, need to do to win this fight? Does he need to take him to the ground? Does he need to stay stand up?
He needs to stand up. He just needs to, because they on that fight with Justin, they didn't go to the ground. It was just pure fighting boxing.
Chandler attempted to. He did try to go for a takedown.
No, he did.
Because he got hurt, and so Gaethje defended it very well.
But if he wants to, and he just brings that fire, I think he's able to get Ferguson out in the first or second round. Late first, early second.
I love Tony Ferguson. I think El Kokoyi has been one of my favorite fighters out there. But I just thought, like, he hasn't had the right mindset, since his first loss to Justin Gaethje. Not having a win in like the last 3 years has really affected him, I believe. He's mentioned that actually in his interviews with like Daniel Cormier or with the media, that he just wasn't in the right place. Like, he felt lost with the whole pandemic thing going on and stuff like that. Like his team kind of failed him and he was not surrounded by the right people. Tony is a desperate need. He hasn't fought in a year. This will be his first fight in a year since his loss to Beneil Dariush. And I think hopefully now he's in a better mindset. The issue with both these guys, and it's this issue with both of them, they want to stand and bang, and they think they can take all the hits in the world without any problems. And then Tony will come out with some unique takedowns, and he'll hit you maybe with a Darce choke and stuff like that. And Chandler's a wrestler; he'll fight you in the ground. Like he's not scared to. I think these guys just need to like put their chin down, stay focused the whole way, and you're gonna have to capitalize the best of your opportunities and your skills. Not really worry too much about the other guy, as more as like you gotta focus and make sure you're still disciplined on yourself. Because if you just go and stand and bang, someone's gonna get hurt instantly. You're gonna lose right away. Tony's chin is just not the same anymore. He's lost to Gaethje, he's lost to Oliveira, he's lost to Dariush. Chandler's losses. I don't feel like he had a stock down on any of them. He lost to Oliveira, but he had a great first round against him, and he could have probably won that fight. He just ate a shot to the chin, and then his legs buckled, and he fell back, and that was it. With the Gaethje fight, he went for the takedowns. He got hurt a lot, but when that fight ended, we gave a standing ovation to both the fighters. Like it wasn't like, oh, like man, Chandler, what a loser, what a bitch, right? No, we gave standing ovations to both of them. And I think I'm going to go with Chandler to win this fight. I think that he's the more healthier, more right-minded guy. I like Tony, but I just feel like, if he loses this one, it's kind of like done for him as far as the UFC. Well, that's if Dana wants to drop him, right? Because he should still make money off of him. But I don't know, man. I think one is looking at the right direction, and the other one's too where like Tony was talking a lot about Khabib yesterday in his interview with Daniel Cormier. I'm like, dude, I get that you're saying it to Daniel Cormier because that's Khabib's boy and stuff like that, but you're too focused on other things. Don't be focused on that. You need to focus on the guy that's fighting, not the guy who's retired and got a little fat now. So that's all I got on that one. All right, Art. Anything else you want to hit on before we head out? What else you got to talk
No,
about?
I think that really sums it up. It's gonna be a great card, and I'm usually like excited about seeing the prelims, the early prelims or the prelims before the main card, because man, they surprise. The past fights on the preliminary cards, man, they surprise, and they've had some like great knockouts and great finishes.
I have a coworker at my job. If you're gonna be watching the early prelims, check out the Rodriguez Vergara fight. One of the new guys in my work, his brother is the fighter, one of the fighters in that fight. So it's a flyweight fight. He's up and coming. So check him out. CJ Vergara. His brother works with my company now, so that's gonna be interesting. I think he'll be in his corner this weekend. I'm not sure, or he's one of his. I know he's one of his coach training partners for it, but I'm not sure if he's gonna go fly up there to Arizona with him. But good luck to him, man. But yeah, check that out, Art, and everyone else who's listening and watching this right now. Check that out. Art, I think that we have like one more thing to talk about, and it's a little conspiracy, scare, paranoia shit that involves the San Antonio Spurs. So, for those who don't know, the San Antonio Spurs, my San Antonio Spurs, recently inquired to, and they got passed. They wanted to do a 2-year thing. It's going to be only a 1-year thing where they get to play 2 games in Austin this upcoming season, and then 1 game in the Alamo Dome, which is here in San Antonio still, and 1 game in Mexico. Their logic is to expand their small market into other small markets, so that way, they can become, overall, gain more fan base and stuff like that, rather than, lose them or anything like that. Because of course we're the closest team to Mexico, besides the Arizona teams and stuff like that. But that's a huge fan base there. And then Austin's like an hour away from San Antonio. So, and then we have the Austin Spurs out up there too. Unfortunately, Art, the paranoia is for a lot of Spurs fans is that the Spurs are probably gonna want to relocate. We've lost our WNBA team. We lost our, hockey team. What are your thoughts on the Spurs?
I don't think that it's a relocation. I think there's a lot of history that the Spurs have here in San Antonio.
50 years.
I think people are overreacting on it. Now, don't get me wrong. If they do, then it sucks for San Antonio. But I don't believe that the Spurs are going to leave. I see it too it's too risky. We've seen it in all the games that they even play out. They have one of the biggest fan bases for Texas. They don't go. A lot of people are not like Mavericks fans. It's only Dallas people who are like Mavericks fans. But there's a lot of Spurs fans outside of Texas as well. Mm-hmm. And I think them wanting to go play in Mexico, I think that's great, because a lot of the people that they carry as their fan base, they're Hispanic, they're Latinos, they're Mexican, they're whatever you want to call them, Texans, San Antonians. It's all that culture of Mexican American or Latino Americanos fan base. Right. And there's a lot of people in Mexico. That's one of the main sports that people like to play, basketball. So them taking the Spurs to Mexico for 1 game, I think that's great. I think it should be 2 games and 1 game in Austin. Now, them going to Austin is, okay, you know what? Let's bring some people over here to Austin. And we've seen it with the rodeo. Whenever the rodeo's in town, where the Spurs play, they lose their home. So I don't know. Maybe they want to find another house, another stadium close to San Antonio that they can say, okay, you know what? We're not going to be at the Alamo Dome or the AT&T Center, but hey, Austin's going to be our second home. And it's just for those games that we can't play at home. So that may be a reasoning why. But yeah, I think people are overreacting on them losing the Spurs to Austin, and it's what are they gonna call them? The Austin Spurs? It just doesn't sound
Well,
like
that's our G League team. So I mean, yes, they could.
it doesn't sound right.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, regardless, that is our, because it used to be what's it called? It was the Austin Toros, and now they're the Austin Spurs. Like, they recently changed it. It was like maybe like 2-3 years ago they changed it. But you're talking about a city. We don't have major sports teams here. We have one. We have one team only because Jerry Jones won't allow an NFL team come down to San Antonio because he doesn't want to lose that market.
He knows he will.
He will, absolutely. We don't have like a major soccer team or anything like that. Or we never had a major hockey team. Like, it was like minor league that we had with the Rampage. And then we lost the Rampage to Vegas, and then we lost the Silver Stars, who ended up being the Stars, and then we lost them to Vegas. Now they're the Aces. Good luck to Beck Hammond, by the way, head coach, GM. But you get it, right? Like, those two things, like losing them, is what making the fear monger for the Spurs fans are like, oh no, like, we're gonna lose so much shit like that. I agree, though. I don't think they're gonna lose the Spurs, and because that was a successful franchise. One, the city of San Antonio will fight, to the end of the end, all the way they can. They will do everything. They will exhaust every resource possible to keep the Spurs here. And they love it. They'll accommodate them no matter what, because that'd be a huge market loss for the city of San Antonio. Is it good as far as losing home games here so they can do them somewhere else? I guess. And here's why I'm okay with it right now. It's because, imagine, it was only a 3-2 vote. So like 5 people voted, 3 were okay with it, 2 were against it. So it was really close to get rejected. But I think for Spurs fans, you have to also remember, because we went to a 1 game. Not all games were sold out. Actually, very few were like a little over half. And a lot of times there was away fans there more than there was home fans. There was a lot of Chicago fans when we went. There was a lot of Laker fans when I went. There was a lot of Warriors fans there. So if you were really determined to keep your team happy and not them going somewhere else, show up. Like dead ass. Like, show up, support, even if they're not the best team in the world, they're not a playoff team. Support your guys, because that could end up being something that says, oh, Peter Holt, maybe we should go to Vegas. Maybe we should get them a team. They're already a silver-black Raider team over there. Why don't they become a silver and black Spurs team as well? Like,
it could happen, but I think that a lot of people don't. I mean, and this is one thing, and this is one of the reasons why I don't go to the basketball
game. By
games.
the way, it's very affordable. It's very affordable to go to the game. It was not expensive. So
right,
unless that's when they're the championship team, that's when they raise prices. But right now, it's very affordable. Just put that out there. Go on.
Yep.
Go on.
No, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, I never go to those basketball games because I thought it was gonna be expensive. But the tickets that we got for that time, they weren't expensive. Just buy them ahead of time. Like, if you know they're gonna play a good team, or they're gonna play a team that you're like, like, I'm interested, or I want to have a date night, hey, just go support your local team. Now, if you want to like courtside tickets, and it's like, all right,
obviously it's gonna be higher.
It's gonna be higher, but those are the tickets. Like, like maybe, I don't know, like maybe San Antonio Spurs, like for not those kind of games. Maybe they're all basketball games shouldn't be that expensive. Maybe they should open that out to the actual home team to actually be able to afford those type of tickets. And that's just
look. I mean, there was games, because Warriors are fucking expensive. Lakers are super expensive. Like, the Knicks are super expensive. Those high market teams in like those areas, they're expensive. Like, the cheapest sometimes I saw was like $80. That was like the lowest. Spurs fans, you want to be happy? $10. That's your lowest. $10. We had great seats for $100.
And I got a bobblehead.
You got a bobblehead. You got a DeRozan Spurs jersey. You got 2
koozies and a hat for $80.
Yes. Was that $80? No, it was 40.
It was like
40.
$40.
It was
Well,
40.
we got 2 packets for $80.
Well, you and Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, y'all together spent 80, but I'm saying individually, regardless, you still spend less than 200. Now, if you count food, different story, or beer. But I digress. I think your paranoia fans, relax. And if you want to ease your mind, go to some games. Have fun. They're low price. Take your kids. Have a good time. They're not a playoff team right now. That's fine. They're slowly rebuilding. And hopefully we get a high draft pick this year and we progress. But again, if you're too worried about them, us losing them, and then they go somewhere else,
Support them.
yeah, keep buying merch, keep going to the games, keep spreading the word. Like, come on, and stop your hating. I don't know about you. I since I've on a few Spurs Twitter and Facebook groups, there's too many people that are negative. Like, I need to chill the fuck out. Like. And I get it's because I'm not the Tim Duncan era no more. It's not the Tony Parker, the Manu era no more.
But that's the thing about those teams. Like, it's what do you expect? One of those players to play with your team forever? Like, nah, dude. It's gonna have ups and downs. That's what makes it interesting. Because then it's like overpower.
It's just annoying because these like you read them and they're so negative about it, and like there's so many DeJounte Murray haters. Like, no shit, he's not going to probably be the guy for us, right? Very rarely a point guard is your guy. Like honestly, but most of the time when you win, and even if you have your point guard being your main guy, like say, for example, Steph Curry, you have a good backup unit behind you to like also give you,
The open
alleviate that pressure.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, we had the big three. We had Duncan. Hey, look, here, I'll say this. The Spurs had everything right set up for the future. Kawhi, his injury, and then the drama with his family and the medical staff, that deterred the future plans. Because imagine this. And you tell me, from what you've noticed. You have a healthy Kawhi. He doesn't get hurt by Zaza. And your future relies on Kawhi, DeJounte, and then whatever you pick up for the future. But those two guys alone, that's a solid duo.
Yeah.
Because you have two high-ranking defenders, you have two guys good with the mid-range and who are developing their 3 game. Now, Kawhi's already gotten better at the 3 game. DeJounte's gonna get there eventually, like obviously. Your point guard's not selfish. So you would have had 2 guys who average more than 2 steals a game.
Yep.
Which is a lot for defenders. That's a lot. And then you adding like mid-range scorers, which is our niche. But it is what it is. The drama with Kawhi happened, and it just went downhill. DeRozan was never the guy. And you tell me how you feel about DeRozan, by the way.
DeRozan's great, but it's the same argument that you had with Kawhi. If you keep him healthy, if you keep that player that you can build your team around, you keep him healthy, and he is not a ball hog, the team works great. And we've seen it I've seen it with Chicago. Like, DeRozan's great, but he's working with LaVine, he's working with Caruso, he's working with Ball, he's working with
that's a good unit.
Players.
When they're all healthy, they're
exactly.
a good unit.
And they pass the ball. They're not playing selfish. Now, when
the team's collapse happened with LaVine, Ball, and Caruso getting hurt multiple times.
Yep.
Like, that's what the Bulls' downfall was, and then it just became too much against the Bucks.
And then, like, if we talk with the Spurs, it was okay. You had Kawhi. He's not a selfish player, but then you had Patty Mills, and then you had Danny Green. How do you want to work around that when 2 of those players or one of those players per game, they wanted to be selfish and they just wanted to shoot the ball? We know Popovich is not a 3-pointer guy. Like, he will not want you to shoot the 3-pointer unless he knows.
I wouldn't say they're selfish. I think the more issue is that they're so inaccurate with their shots.
But it's selfish in the sense of like gameplay. Like, if you're inaccurate with your shot and you don't want to work your shot, why are you taking that shot? And that's Popovich's thing. Like, his style of game plan is, all right, pass the ball, ball movement. Okay, the open shot, take it. If you can take the open shot and you're 100% sure you're good and that's your shot, take your shot.
Well,
But if you're
they'll always tell you to take the shot no matter what. That's why Patty and Danny did it. They'll always tell you, but
yes,
they're like mid-30s on accuracy.
but they didn't work on their shot though, and we've seen that. Like with the Nets, Patty's not. I mean, he's okay whenever he fills in. Danny Green with
He's been
right
with
now
the
he's
Raptors,
with
Lakers,
the Raptors.
Sixers. No,
Like
Sixers.
right now he's with Sixers, but like if he gets open, he'll make it in. But he's worked on his shot now because it's like okay, they're not depending on me.
Nah, you go to
But-
every fan base that's had Danny Green, and you'll have a lot of haters, and they'll be like, "Damn, how did the Spurs wind up with this guy?" And then now his defense has gone like down since, and that was like why you kept him around was his defense, and that's gone down a bit.
Yep. No, I like Danny. I like the Danny Green when we had him, and he was a good player. Don't get me wrong, he was a good player, but he did not develop his skills.
No, Danny Green fell for me like on my chart is like because remember he had that hot like 2013 finals like where he set the record for the most threes until Steph broke it obviously, but like what happened to that guy was my thing like because he never became that again. Not for the regular season, not for any of the playoff run, not even for the following year when they beat the Heat in 5. Like he
didn't keep developing his skill.
He never became like you realize like how good you were, that you could have been the guy, and yet
he didn't keep. That's the thing. He did not keep developing. Like DeRozan was not the greatest player.
He's a great mid-range player,
mid-range shooter. Whenever he was with San Antonio, because he wasn't happy. Now with the Bulls,
I wouldn't say he was unhappy.
No, he wasn't unhappy, but he wasn't like playing with like I don't know, like it was the way that
he was playing with the young guys.
Yeah, and like that's not his style of play. His style of play is like okay, let's pass the ball, let's do this mid-round. Like it's different, and that's what I've seen now that he's playing with the Bulls. Like he doesn't miss shots unless he gets in his head. So, unless he's trying to do it by himself, then.
Like one of the biggest arguments Spurs fans have is that he's not clutch. I always argue that. I think he's
freaking clutch, man.
People don't understand the word clutch. Like it's very hard to be clutch. It's the easiest thing in the world. Like, and you have some guys that come up at the end and win you games, that final bucket and gets you secured. DeRozan is very high rated in my opinion. Like he should be highly. He's underrated. He should be higher in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Now, here's what I'll say. DeRozan is not the number one. He cannot be the best guy on your team. He can't be.
Nope.
He will never
another piece.
He's the second or third best at best. Right now that's his been motto his career. Raptors, he was the number one guy, but he was as good as a number 2. Spurs, same thing. Bulls, same thing. Until he is playing behind someone that is the number one guy, he'll never be part of a championship team. But he's going to be treated as the number one guy, and that's just unfortunately not going to. Yep. The Bulls aren't going to win a title with him. Not with him as the number one. Nope. Spurs were never going to win. Now, we didn't even make the playoffs, I think, in the last 2 years with him.
You did it.
So I think we made the playoffs one time with him. And that was, yeah, no, I can't remember. Anyways, but anywho, Hard, you got any other things you want to bring up?
Nope, I'm good.
Oh, I remember now. Canelo's fighting this weekend.
Oh, we said we weren't gonna bring that. We were gonna wait for another one, but yeah, he is fighting this weekend.
I mean, no. I mean, there's no reason to bring it up on another episode because he's fighting this weekend. He's fighting Saturday. So Canelo's fighting to win one of the many light heavyweight titles. Art, you made a comment earlier before we started. He said it's just another fight. It's just another payday for him. Like, do you not think is this not evolving his legacy if he goes up weight classes and wins? It tries to win those undisputed titles?
So if he goes up a weight class and get me, like I've been kind of off on keeping up with him. So initially I didn't even know that he was going up a class. I thought it was just another fight for him. Yeah. But I looked it up right now, and that was my bad before not looking it up. But no, he is solidifying his legacy as one of the best boxers. best Mexican boxers. Now, if he wins it, great. If he doesn't, does he really lose anything from trying to do that? Or is this like a, that's
I
it,
mean,
we're done?
honestly, he might. He might lose a lot of credibility if he loses. One loss in boxing, especially when you're a high tier guy like him, like he's one of those like mega guys. He's in a rarity where you want to compare him to Floyd, you want to compare him to the greatest of all time, right? Like that's where we're going right now with. And if you lose, even if you're 31 and you've been doing this for like 10 plus years. Like, let's look at Canelo's record. He's been fighting since his first pro fight was in 05. So your record, you're 17 years in. You lose this one. This is your second loss. Does this hurt your legacy? I think so. Especially when you're trying to say you're the greatest.
I don't think it hurts the legacy of him saying he's the greatest, because he's jumping up and down on classes. He's moving up and down. The fact that he's moving up says a lot about him, because it's like, hey, I want to move up. I want to prove I'm the best at every division, and I can do it on all the weight classes. But I don't think him losing just says, oh, you're not the greatest. I even if he loses, I still consider him better than De La Hoya or Marquez. Like,
Okay.
that's where I put him, just because of the style of fighting. And this is a controversy that I know we've had before with other people in the podcast. Like, I think he's even better than Floyd. Like, a lot of people say, oh no, Floyd is this and you can't compare him, and he lost, like Canelo lost him. Yeah, but their style of fighting was different. And the way that Canelo's fighting now, he's using that fight from Floyd, and it pushed him to be what he is today. So he's worked on his defense, and he's worked on his offense. So to me, he is one of the greatest boxers of all times. Like, he's up there with Ali and all those other guys. Like, that's where I put him at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying like overall greatest. I know you were talking about like one maybe the greatest Mexican fighters ever.
Fatherhood.
Oh, you hear that, right? You can hear my son. Like, sorry guys, but it's we heard your lovely daughter earlier, like before us. Was like my son just woke up from like longest nap, so he's exhausted. But I do think it hurts a little bit if you lose, especially with like no disrespect to Dimitri Bivol. You're 19-0. Like, you're not a bad champion because you've done pretty good to become 19-0 and be champion for like the last 4 years. Like, you're not bad, but you're not that level, right? Like when we okay, so like I think he lost that first fight with Triple G. Like, I do. I think Triple G beat him in that first fight. I think the judges screwed Triple G. And of course, I gave Canelo the second fight. I think Canelo won the rematch, and it should be 1-1, not 1-0-1, as the records have it. And of course, you could make arguments with Floyd's fights too. That some of them were, he shouldn't have won or something like that. I think there's controversy on the De La Hoya fight, right? Like that he probably didn't win that fight. And plus, he didn't even beat Logan Paul. That's how stupid it looks. I know it's an exhibition fight, but that's just stupid. I just don't think a guy like Dimitri should be beating a guy like Canelo. So that's where I think it hurts the legacy. Now, of course, if Dimitri becomes the undefeated super light heavyweight fighter ever in the world, then okay, then maybe it's okay to say that. But like as of right now, like current time frame, I just think Canelo cannot be taking that kind of loss.
He shouldn't. He
he's
shouldn't lose.
He's been light heavyweight champion before. But like he should, like in this case, Canelo should not be losing to anybody. Like,
no,
like yeah, there's just nobody at his level. Now, if he goes heavyweight, different story.
No, he shouldn't lose. But him losing, I don't think says, oh, you're like right off the bat, your legacy is done.
No, but no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if he loses to a guy like Dimitri, it does.
There's question.
Well, I think it takes you out of the conversation for greatest of all time. I think so. That's what I'm saying. A guy at the level of Dimitri should not be beating it. So I'm saying if he loses to him, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not that he would take another loss, It just depends who's the guy.
Who? Yeah, no, I get it.
So
I get it.
but I have Canelo winning. like not to like sound like crazy, but I have Canelo winning. So I assume you do too.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna watch the fight now. If Marquitos orders that fight, cool. You ordered it. I'm ordering the UFC fight. That's his gift. Congratulations, your graduation, brother. Love you. But I think we've caught up a lot, and we've made up a lot more for that travesty of an episode of 74. In
This could be 74.5.
No, this is 75. We're going straight to 74.5. Está loco, eh? No, 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 74.5. That's maybe it was a blooper episode. Maybe we could do that. But you know who? Because this is around the time frame we kind of gave up on that episode, like 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Yes,
That's kind of around the time frame we gave up on that. So, Art, you got any plugs? You got anything to say to the people before we head out?
Yeah, man. Y'all can find me on Instagram at _Ibarra Design.
I almost forgot that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did because I changed it, so I'm still kind of like trying to remember it. But yeah, y'all can find me at that. Ask me questions about like remodels, things like that. Or if you just want to like jump in one day and say, hey, I think y'all should talk about this on the podcast or something. Hey, let me know or let us know. Like there's the PPS website as well. But if you don't feel like reaching there, you can reach one of us.
This is also true. Guys, yeah, reach out to Art on his Insta and tell him how crazy he is to say Spider-Man No Way Home is not rewatchable. That he's insane. And then talk to him once you watch Madness Multiverse because or Multiverse of Madness, whatever the fuck it is. Talk to him because he's gone loco and we can't really talk about it on here. Like me and him will talk about it. He's a little crazy, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Doctor Strange dies. What? It's madness.
Yeah, you're fucking madness. Anyways, guys, follow the podcast on Instagram at Puro Pinche Sports. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Pinche Sports Pod. For Arturo Ibarra, I am Jose Garza, and we are Puro Pinche Sports, and we are out.